So we'll just give one more minute. We only have 30 participants so far, so hopefully we get a few more in here. All right, I think we're just going to go ahead and get started. We are recording this version, so this session, sorry, so we will make sure that this gets out to everyone. So I just want to say thank you for joining us this morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Before we get started with the session this morning, I wanted to introduce to you our new membership data coordinator, Sandra Perez. Sandra comes from the Rancho Southeast Association, and so she actually has the experience that I was looking for when we were trying to fill this position. And her experience has really just allowed her to come in and really just help keep things moving forward. I'm extremely happy to have her on my team, our team, and I believe she is going to really just excel in this position. As you know, Mariah is no longer with C.A.R. So going forward, your email communication should go to sandrap@car.org. And if you're sending any communications to me, please CC Sandra because she is also my accountability partner. Our goal is really to make sure that we get back to you with a response on the same day. And so she will definitely make sure that happens. So I know this is a very busy time for all of us, right? We're focused on the 2025 dues billing, as well as trying to meet a November 22nd compliance deadline. The office hour session has been created so that you can get your questions answered regarding the upcoming compliance deadline, and so that we can also talk about, other membership related topics. And so today you are going to hear from me as well as from our finance department. We will conduct these sessions leading up to every checkpoint so that you know exactly what needs to take place in order to be compliant. So let me just share my screen and we will go ahead and get started. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes, looks good.
Perfect, thank you. So this morning, I have a few things that I want to cover, and then I will turn it over to our finance team, and then we'll get into our Q&A session, because that's really what office hours is all about, right? Making sure that you get your questions answered today. If you have any questions during the session, please put them in the chat, and we will make sure that we get your questions answered at the end of today's session. And so today, we're going to be focused on the upcoming December 1st NMSP score deadline. And what this means is all associations must have a 97% or higher NMSP score by the deadline. This specific deadline actually has two potential deadlines. We have November 22nd as well as December 6th. So we are actually pushing for all associations to be compliant by November 22nd so that everyone can enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday without the pressure of coming back from the holiday to meet a deadline. However, if all of the associations are not compliant on November 22nd, then the December 6th deadline will remain in effect. And the reason why we moved the deadline from the 1st to the 6th is because the deadline fell on a Sunday this year, and the leadership team asked that we move it to December 6th. We will keep everyone posted on where the associations stand with meeting the November 22nd deadline. And so you'll receive a communication the week of the deadline, and we'll send out a communication a day before the deadline to let you know if all associations are compliant. And so as of today, we are approximately 15 days away from the November 22nd deadline. And just to give you some stats with regard to the compliance deadline, we have 27 associations that are currently out of compliance, and we have 44 associations that will be out of compliance within the next 30 days or less because they have one or two NMSPs in their grace period that will be delinquent on or before the deadline. I believe the associations that are currently out of compliance can meet the November deadline because they don't have a ton of NMSPs to focus on. So again, we have 15 days, but the good news is Sandra and I are here to assist you. And so leading up to every compliance checkpoint, we send out two preliminary compliance letters to the AE and the board president. The first communication is scheduled to go out to the AEs on Monday, November 11th. And this communication will include your compliance score as of November 11th. The second communication is scheduled to go out to your board presidents on Monday, November 18th, and it will contain your NMSP score as of the 18th. Now, the reason why we send out this communication to your board presidents is so that they are not caught off guard if the association is out of compliance by the deadline and they end up getting called into a hearing. Now, their communication specifically says the score is preliminary and the association still has time to meet the 97% compliance objective. And so your board president is aware that the association will still have time to meet the objective if you are out of compliance when the communication is sent out. So what key priorities should local associations focus on leading up to the deadline? Well, local associations should be focused on your delinquent records and your NMSPs in the grace period that will be delinquent within the next 15 to 30 days. So from your BCT dashboard, you can easily identify your delinquent records from two sections. Number one, under the NMSP score, there's a count next to delinquent, and you can also view your delinquents by clicking on the delinquent section. Now, these are the two places where you can view the list of your delinquent non-members. And if you click on one of those sections, it will display, excuse me, your delinquent non-members. So from here, you can actually sort your list by DR and send out the communication to your brokers. You also want to focus on your NMSPs in the 30 to 16-day grace period and the NMSPs in the 15 to 1-day grace period. Now, the NMSPs in the grace period are the records that can ruin the compliance celebration because you can actually be at 100% today, and while we're celebrating and popping champagne bottles, tomorrow you can be below 97% because we were only focused on the delinquent records. And so again, your goal is to focus on the agents in the delinquent section and those agents in the grace period that will be delinquent within the next 30 to 15 days. And so now you just want to get a communication out to your brokers regarding their delinquent NMSPs and the NMSPs in the grace period. And so in the communication that you send to your brokers, you want to also include the options that are available to the broker when it comes to resolving the issues regarding their non-member agents, right? So let's talk about the options the brokers have concerning their NMSPs. So because, in order for the associations to become compliant, the broker will need to determine how these non-members will be operating. And so the communication that you send out to your brokers, you will need to include a deadline for them to respond, and you will need to include the options available to the broker. So the broker has four options. The broker can pay the non-member fee, remove the agent's license, which puts the agent's license in MBA status. The agent can join as a realtor member, or the broker can certify the agent as a LIFRO by signing the LIFRO certification form. Now, if the broker does not respond or take action by your deadline, then you want to send a final communication that says your membership will be inactivated on a specific date. Now, keep in mind, you never want to inactivate your brokers on a Friday. You don't ever want your brokers to go an entire weekend without being able to work, right? So you want to inactivate your brokers Monday through Thursday, but never on a Friday. So how can C.A.R. support the associations leading up to the deadline? What are we willing to do to help ensure that you are compliant by the deadline? So here's what we're willing to do. If you have agents whose license status becomes licensed MBA and the record is still showing on the BCT and impacting your score, we will add them to the DRE exemption list. You just need to send us an email with their name, their NERDS ID number, and we will update our records, and you will see the update on the BCT the very same day. Also, if you have members that paid their dues and they have a financial record for 2024 on M1, and then the member becomes inactive for not completing their COE requirements or any other requirements, we can also add them to an exemption list. If you have non-members with a financial record on M1, but they still show up as unpaid on the BCT, they will also be added to a temporary list until we can get the financial record processed on our end. And so your role in this process is to send us an email and include the member's name and NERDS ID number. And our role is to get the records updated so that you can see the update on the BCT and so that you can see the increase in your NMSP score. Now, I want to mention that you want to make sure that these agents qualify for these exemptions first by checking DRE to confirm the license status shows licensed MBA, or the license date shows expired if we're adding them to the DRE exemption list. Also, you want to check M1 to confirm that the financial record appears on M1 if we are adding someone to a paid exemption list. So again, these are the steps that we are going to take to assist you so that we can ensure that every association is compliant by the deadline. So just a quick recap. Local associations should be focused on delinquent NMSPs and NMSPs within the 15 to 30-day grace period. Members that are eligible for an exemption, please send an email to me and to Sandra. And then last, avoid deactivating brokers on a Friday. So real quick, let's talk about the compliance procedures that we follow after each deadline has passed. So we are going to take a snapshot of the NMSP scores on Friday, November 22nd at 6 p.m. Now, we will only use this snapshot if all associations are compliant. If all of the associations are not compliant, then the December 6th deadline will remain in effect, and we will take the snapshot at 6 p.m. on December 6th. We will notify C.A.R. Legal and the leadership team regarding non-compliant AORs on Monday, December 9th. And then non-compliant AORs will receive a notification that will go out to the AE and the board president regarding a hearing at the upcoming winter business meetings in Indian Wells. And so again, our goal, and hopefully it is your goal, to be compliant by November 22nd. Our goal is also to prevent any hearings from taking place by making sure all associations are compliant by the 22nd or by December 6th. Now, before I turn it over to our finance department, let's talk about members transferring to another association before the financial record is uploaded to M1. I'm sure you all have experienced this happening, right? You know, this is that time of the year where you are sending out your billing invoices and members are going online and paying their dues. And then they decide to transfer to another association after they paid their dues, right? So what happens if a member transfers to another association before their financial record is uploaded to M1? Well, the member's record must be transferred back to the original association. This means the original association will need to transfer the record back to their association. The financial record must then be added to M1 before the record can be transferred back to the new association. So these are the steps that you must follow in order to resolve this issue. So the original association will transfer the member's record back to their association. The original association must upload the financial record to M1. C.A.R.'s finance department will process the financial record. Once the financial record has been processed, the record can then be transferred back to the new association. Now, this process usually takes 24 hours to complete, As long as both associations are communicating with one another, we can make this happen within 24 hours and sometimes less. So why is this important? Well, it's important because if these steps are not taken, the monthly reconciliation report and the BCT will show that the new association owes dues for this member. So the best practice is local associations should first verify that a current financial record is present in the member's profile on M1 before initiating a transfer. That alone would resolve 99% of these issues. Also, when the dues are collected, the financial record must be uploaded to M1 and the dues money must be submitted to C.A.R. within 15 days or less. So here are some key takeaways from what we just covered. So always verify that a current financial record is present in the member's profile on M1 before you initiate the transfer. Always upload the financial record to M1 promptly when dues are collected. You also want to ensure that the payment is sent through e-commerce within 15 days or less. Also, delays in processing can lead to issues with member dues transfers, members getting access to zip forms, and inaccurate dues reporting, which is one of the things that we really want to try to prevent. So, as you know, C.A.R. has increased their dues this year by $6 for 2025. So please make sure your systems contain the following dues proration amounts for 2025. Also, please make sure your vendors have the updated information as well. So when they update your system, they are using the current dues information. Now, this is extremely important because our system has been programmed to look for these specific amounts down to the penny. So what this means is if you upload a financial record to M1 and it doesn't match exactly as you see it here, our system will reject it and the member will continue to appear on the BCT as unpaid until you enter the correct dollar amount in M1. So this page just contains additional dues and fees for 2025. The late fee will remain the same at $50. The late fee for C.A.R. goes into effect on March 1st. The new member fee is remaining the same at $200. Also, a new member is someone that has never been a member or someone that has had a 1-year lapse in membership. So for example, if a member paid 2023 dues and then takes 2024 off and then decides to rejoin in 2025, they are considered a brand new member. Also, the non-member fee for 2025 is $237 for C.A.R. and $156 for N.A.R. Also, the non-member fee is never prorated. The affiliate membership dues has increased by $6 as well. So the new fee for 2025 for affiliate members is $168. Also, affiliate members are not members of N.A.R., so they are not billed N.A.R. dues. They are only required to pay C.A.R. and local dues. Also, we have created a membership resource page for association staff. This is simply, just another resource hub that you can use to hopefully make your jobs a little easier. You can access this resource page directly from the link on this slide, which we will make available to everyone after this session. So at this time, I am now going to turn it over to Jamie Black from our finance department, and she will be giving you a financial update. Welcome, Jamie. You're on mute, sorry.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Keesman. And thank you for coming, everyone. I'm Jamie from the finance team, and I'm going to talk to you about maintaining compliance with campaign laws. Now, what we do, we have a program that compares M1 and e-commerce payment records. And we will send you reconciliation reports that tell you if there are any discrepancies between the two. Sometimes M1 and e-commerce get out of sync. And go to the next slide. excuse me, I'm having allergies, almost sneezing. Sorry. Now, campaign law requirements. Um, the dues have a political part called RAA. And so that's why these campaign laws apply to dues. And all contributions must be deposited into the PACs within 30 days of receipt and must be properly tracked by contributor. So for EFTs, you must send the EFT details to the finance team on the Excel template that we provide. Also, CastFin reports from Rapatoni are acceptable. And that's a picture there of what the template for sending your EFT data looks like. And we can send you the template. Just reach out to us. We'll send it to you. And the next slide. And so by the 15th and last day of the month, all local associations must submit all your dues, new member fees, allocations, and assessments. And what we're watching out for is that M1 records and e-commerce payment records always match. And again, we have a program that checks that, and we alert you if you have any mismatched records. And I also want to say that when you get a reconciliation report or a notice from the finance team, it's not a bad thing. This is a good thing because we found some records that are out of sync, and we can tell you how to fix them and to get back in sync. And next slide. So we have some other campaign law requirements we wanted to bring to your attention. Can a member pay dues that include political contributions on behalf of another member, which that means dues or RAF and new member fees? No. Political contributions must be reported in the name of the member actually paying. One member may not pay or reimburse the RAA or RAF portion of another member. Can a broker or team leader pay for membership dues and RAA assessments on behalf of agents? No. Membership dues have a political assessment portion, and no individual entity may pay political contributions for another person or in their name. However, brokers can pay for their NMSPs. Can a husband and wife pay dues and RAA assessment for each other? No, they may not. Each individual must approve and make the payment because it includes political contributions. However, they can pay from the same account or with the same card or use the same payment method, but we have to receive the payments for each individual in their name. And then the next slide. So as far as discrepancies on the reconciliation reports, these are the types of discrepancies that happen. You can have missing M1 records. That's where we received e-commerce payments without corresponding M1 records. You can have missing e-commerce payments where we're seeing M1 records without matching up with the corresponding e-commerce payment. Or you can have mismatched records where the M1 record has a different amount than the corresponding e-commerce payment. And again, we alert you to these discrepancies and we'll tell you how to fix them. Next slide. So some things to be aware of specifically about e-commerce. All e-commerce payments must include the individual payer's name and NERDS ID, the amount and date of the payment. And you are not in compliance if your payment via e-commerce is populated with a staff member's name. And there's an example of what it looks like from our end, from the ACH payment report, and Kiesman's name right there. But every transaction needs to come in the name of the individual payer. So a staff member payment is not acceptable. And next slide. And another thing we're noticing in e-commerce is that sometimes the billing year, we're getting records in EFTs and from external interfaces where the billing years are being put into one transaction, and that's not acceptable. We need, for example, in the manual, the EFTs, that first one there, an example of what not to do. You can see there's, in the comment, you can see 2024 and 2025 are together in one transaction. What needs to happen is you have to split out 2024 and 2025. There's example what to do. So send two separate transactions separated by billing year. And next slide. And then this is an example from, wait, let me see. Oh, previous slide. Yeah, that one. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that one. So this one that is an example from external interface from that we would receive from your membership management system. And this is what it looks like when we receive it on our end. You can see on that first one, an example of what not to do, that $456.25. That is a payment that has 2024 and 2025. So this person is a new join in December, and he's paying his December dues, and also he wants to pay his 2025 dues. What we need to receive, the example of what to do, is two separate transmissions, one for the 2024 and one for the 2025. And you might have to, if it starts happening with the example what not to do, you might need to contact your vendor, your software vendor, to have them to look into that and fix it. Okay, the next slide. Now, something else that we're seeing, particularly in e-commerce bank 2 for RAF, is missing the field for the billing year is sometimes we receive it blank. This is what it looks like from our end on the ACH payment report. And you'll see the billing year there is missing. We're receiving it with a blank billing year field. And so we will contact you if we see that happening. And we would need you to contact your software vendor and have that fixed. Okay, next slide. And there are frequently asked questions. It's on that same site that Kiesman showed you earlier, but way down at the bottom, there's frequently asked questions. And those go over a lot of important items for the financial process. And then the next slide. And these are your contacts on the C.A.R finance team, Sydney and Jamie. And again, we are here to help you with complying with campaign filing laws, and just contact us if you have any questions or need help with anything. And then the next slide. And then thank you for attending. And if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Jamie. That was great information. So at this time, we will start our Q&A session. So if you have any questions for me or for Jamie, we are here to take your questions. Do we have any questions in the chat, Sandra?
Yes, there's a couple of questions in there. When you were speaking about the exemption, they ask commercial agents, if applicable, also an exempted disposition.
Yes, yes. Sorry about that. That actually should have been part of that slide. So if you do have agents that qualify for the commercial exemption, and that agent is on your BCT report and it's impacting your score, please let us know so that we can make sure our records are updated accordingly, and we will get them added to the COM exemption list.
And then there was another question, says, on the husband/wife payment, is one check from an account where both of their names are on it acceptable?
No, they need to make two checks, a payment for each. Each individual must make their own political payment, political contribution for dues or for RAF.
Those were the only questions.
Oh, wow. All right, if anyone else has a question, you can raise your hand or just come off of mute and we will get your question answered. So if there are no questions, that means we either did a great job presenting or everyone is just being shy today.
I did want to bring up, going back to Keisman speaking about the correct dues, reflecting in M1. If the wrong due is reflecting on M1, you will need to create a negative amount for that same incorrect amount. That way you can create a new one with a correct one. And then once the correct one is done, then the system will automatically know that it's already the correct amount for that member.
Yes, thank you, Sandra. So there are no questions. I guess we're all busy focused on dues billing and trying to be compliant by November 22nd, right? Are there any associations on here that does not believe that they can meet the November 22nd deadline?
There's another question. Will there be another webinar for details on the code COEC compliance deadline and how it impacts billing and BCT?
You know, we don't have a webinar scheduled specifically for code of ethics. Maybe we should, or maybe we'll send out some information regarding the code of ethics deadline and what is required if we don't conduct a Zoom training. So let me meet with Sandra. We'll discuss that, but we'll definitely get some information out to all of the associations regarding the code of ethics deadline.
Keisman,
Yes.
Cindy, Central Valley Association of Realtors. Can I ask another question? I was the one that put the question about our members who are husband and wife.
Yes.
Sending, we have like most of our husband and wife teams, they just send in a check for the same amount. I mean, for both of them. Do you have some kind of verbiage or a form letter that we can return that check with? Because they're not going to be happy. I'll tell you this right now. They're not going to be happy. And I feel like our association is the one that takes the blame whenever we reject something or tell them, no, you got to do it this way. So does C.A.R. have a letter that we can send that explains this very, simply, and when we send the check back to them?
I'm gonna leave that to Jamie. I know we have the Q&A, and so I don't know if anything is written in the Q&A that specifically talks about this particular issue. But Jamie, do you have any feedback regarding that?
Yeah, the verbiage is it's in the Q&A, or the frequently asked questions. You'll see from our legal department, it gives you the verbiage there. Okay.
It would just be really helpful if we don't have to take the blame for sending their check back, because that's where it usually ends. And I mean, obviously it'd be great to just blame it on the state of California finance, political finance laws. But I just would love some verbiage on it. So thank you.
Yeah, Cindy, this is Xiu Yin from Finance Department. And if you need any help, you can contact our legal department, which we can guide you and send you the question to them. Just send it to Jamie so we can forward your question and we get the attorney to answer that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
I think there was another question that came through in the chat.
Yes, currently our association is at 100%, but we do have one NMSP due on December 3rd. That NMSP has an license expiration date of October 30, 2024. So technically should be considered expired now. I don't know if that member is renewing their license or planning to renew. How can I make sure that we are compliant by the December 6th deadline date?
Yeah, so I'm going to take a snapshot of this question. And what I'll do is I'll take a look at that member's record, because what we'll need to do is we'll need to get a communication, well, not C.A.R., but the local association will need to get a communication out to that member, because you'll need to find out if that member is planning to renew their membership, or if they're planning to, operate as a LIFRO. But also going back to that expired license, if that license is expired, the other thing that we can do is add them to an exemption list, which is the DRE exemption, until they can get that issue resolved as well. So we can definitely make sure that you are compliant by the 22nd by doing a couple of things.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the payment apply only to checks, going back to the wife, husband, or credit card payments too?
That applies to credit card payments, to all forms of payment. Every individual has to make a political contribution or a political portion payment by the individual. So they can use the same credit card or from the same checking account or payment method, but they have to make their own contribution, their own payment for dues and RAF.
So are you saying, Jamie, it has to be two transactions? It can be the same credit card, but two separate transactions?
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Shuyan correct. They can charge twice, one
Okay.
for husband and another one for wife. And then when they write the check, and they can do the same thing too,
Got it. Two separate checks. It could
Yeah.
be same, it could be, their name can both be on that check, but it has to be two separate checks. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
On that same question, is it possible for a broker to pay for his agent with two separate payments?
A broker cannot pay for an agent. A broker can only pay for NMSPs.
Thank you.
Then there's another question. If we have any verbiage on why the $6 increase, some members are already asking associations.
Okay. We will definitely get that out after the presentation is over. Any other questions? All right, well, the good news is today we recorded this session, so we will also be sending this session out, the recorded version of the session out once we're done. So you should expect to receive that information by the end of today or by tomorrow morning. And we'll also include the PowerPoint slides and any additional information that we need to get out to the association, including information regarding code of ethics, because we did not cover that today. So I will make sure that we include additional attachments with the information that we're sending out today. So I just want to thank everybody for your time. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day, everybody.
Mm.